Major League Pickleball's Washington, D.C. event is in the books. This was the second of 8 regular season events for Major League Pickleball this year. 7 of the 12 Premier League teams were in action, including our first look at the Bargain Bin Utah Black Diamonds and Ben John's Carolina Pickleball Club, formerly Seattle Pickleball Club. We've got a ton to talk about. We've got updated standings. We'll have some fun with charts. We're going to go over all the trade rules, waiver wire rules, etc. Let's get into it. Now, there were 5 teams that did not participate for the Premier League in this event. Those teams are Arizona, Columbus, LA, New Jersey, and Orlando. All the other 7 teams were in attendance. These were the standings coming into it. Looking at this, obviously St. Louis won to kind of hold on to that spot on the top. You've got DC Pickleball team, the home team, looking to show out in front of the home crowd. The Texas Rangers had an injury. Christian Alshon, unable to attend, had a procedure done. They subbed in Quang Duong. Their goal was just going to be to salvage as many points as they could, given they were without their first pick. And then the New York Hustlers, the only team to get less than 1 point per match last event, looking to turn things around, and let me tell you, they did. So here we've got the Premier League results for just the teams at this event, and our first 2 teams making their debut, you'll see them at the bottom. The Utah Black Diamonds, expectations were low, and honestly, I don't even know if they cleared those low expectations. They lost all 4 of their matches. They didn't even make it to a single Dream Breaker. It was a tough outing for them, and it's going to be a tough season for them. Huge surprise to me. I had Carolina Pickleball Club kind of as a playoff team, and in their 5 matches, they went 1-4, including 1-3 in Dream Breakers. You've got Ben. He's going to get you 2 wins most of the time, so I don't think it's a coincidence that we're seeing this team in so many Dream Breakers early. But can their other 2 lines get those wins to get them out of the Dream Breaker into regulation wins? Well, so far that was not the case. The New York Hustlers turned their season around. They went 6-0, including 3 Dream Breaker wins. Jackie Kawamoto and Leah Jansen absolutely carried. They switched up their mixed pairings, and CJ Klinger and Jack Sock looked much more comfortable together. Last event, I said Jack Sock maybe isn't a first-round pick. Still might be true, but he looked better. And this team in Dream Breakers is absolutely tough. DC probably would have liked to do a little bit better in front of the hometown team. Texas, got to be absolutely thrilled with this. 1.4 points per match. It's going to be right about on pace for what they'll need to make the playoffs. And considering they were without their first pick, Christian Alshon, I mean, this is a win. It could have been better, but, I mean, it could have been so much worse. One other storyline I want to touch on from this week. Now, last week at PPA Sacramento, Ben Johns was caught on a hot mic on a sideline.
Like a tire drive, like it's shit, but what are you going to do with it? She literally hits her drives with backspin. I'm like, did you play tennis?
Obviously, Tyra Black did play tennis at quite a high level. You can form your own opinion on that. It's been discussed a lot on the internet. Callie Chris over on the Sorry Not Sorry podcast talked about it. This was a match that was circled, and lo and behold, Ben Johns goes 0-2 in this match. Now, we didn't get the Ben versus Tyra matchup in mixed. She actually did lose to Colin, but it was in the dead game. It was already 3-0. It didn't even matter at that point. So, yeah, little revenge for the hot mic. It's nice to see, even though it was the Dallas Flash, and they're my rival, and I do hate them. Here we've got the team's game results for this event broken out by discipline. We've got men's doubles, women's doubles, mixed doubles, and Dream Breakers. You'll see Dallas is just consistent across the board in this event, winning 75% of all their games in each of the 3 disciplines. Then you've got teams like New York and Texas, where the women are absolutely carrying. And again, Carolina, that 4-1 men's doubles record, that's the Johns brothers. I mentioned they were looking pretty beatable. They haven't had a medal in a long time on the PPA Tour, which is absolutely unheard of for them. They did go 4-1, including 1 loss to the Dallas Flash. The women went 0-5. In mixed, Ben went 4-1. Colin went 1-4. Utah, I mean, yeah, this is going to be the case for... There's really no chart I can make to make this look pretty. Here we'll dive into the actual pairings, and you can see, like I said, Jackie Kawamoto and Leah Jansen looked absolutely incredible this week, and that was the big reason for their team success. Etta Wright and Tina Pisnick continue to maybe be the best women's doubles teams in the entire league. And then down at the bottom, the 2 teams making their debut really struggled in their women's doubles. In men's doubles, we had a feeling Texas would struggle with the sub Quang Duong. That was the case. They did go 1-4. And Deckel Barr and James Ignatowicz, who were perfect in Atlanta together, they also went 1-4. That's just proof that there's going to be a lot of twists and turns in this season. Over mixed doubles, Gabe Tardio and Kate Fahey continue to struggle. They're actually 1-7 on the season compared to Anna Bright and Hayden Patriquin's 7-1. If the St. Louis Shock can find a way to get consistent wins in their second mixed doubles line, then they will achieve their final form. Etta Wright and Pablo Tellez struggled, and that's not really a good sign for the Ranchers. Coming into this, I said they were probably going to need to win the women's doubles, which they did most of the time, and then that mixed doubles line with Pablo and Etta. Just can't really count on Quang for wins. He's an undrafted substitute. However, Quang and Tina went 3-2. Pablo and Etta went 1-4. Definitely not as expected. The Ranchers aren't ever going to be more than just a middle-of-the-pack team unless they can start getting more wins out of their mixed doubles line. What I've done here is taken the MLP player standings data that they post on their website, dropped it in, and sorted by games won, and I've created a new metric. I just call it the power rating. All it is the win percentage in games plus the win percentage of points added together multiplied by 100. I just like it at a quick at-a-glance sorting stat. For the Ranchers, didn't really know what you were going to get out of Quang Duong, but it was Pablo Tejas down at the bottom of these standings here. And here we've got the same thing for the women. Like we said, it was a really tough weekend for Utah's Callie Smith and Alex Truong. Combining, they just went 1-15. And then Andre Coop 1-9. I do have to say, I think a little bit of this could just be this their first event. Other teams are playing their like 5th or 6th match as they're making their debut. But still, definite room for concern here. So here are the updated complete Premier League standings through 2 events, Atlanta and DC. Now keep in mind the seeding for the mid-season tournament, which is occurring next month at the Beer City Open, will be based on these standings. It's unclear if they're going to base it off the total points, which would be very stupid. I mean, why would you do that? There are teams that have played 3 matches. There are teams that have played 10 matches. It's just not fair. You have to do it on points per match. So that's what we're sorting by here. Thank you to Real Clear Stats for providing this. The big mover, as we mentioned, was the New York Hustlers, going all the way from 10th place to 4th place. Texas kept their pace more or less. St. Louis and Dallas still looking like the teams to beat. And the 2 teams making their debut came in at the bottom and stay at the bottom. Here's a quick look at just how many games each team has played and the results in those. Remember, they've got a 3 here. That means they earn 3 match points for a regulation win, 2 points for a Dreambreaker win, 1 point for a Dreambreaker loss, and 0 points for a regulation loss. You can see New York on an absolute tear, 6 games in a row. I think this is kind of just a neat way to show, I don't know. I just thought this was a fun way to look at it. So moving on, we've also got this with cumulative points per match. And why the hell not? Let's throw this in a chart. Well, you guys look at this chart. Let me tell you about the Austin Pickle Ranch new Breaker Lane indoor facility in North Austin. 16 courts, state of the art. It is the quietest indoor facility you've ever been in. I guarantee it. I don't know if I'm legally supposed to guarantee things, but I'm going to do it anyway. They've got open play, they've got ranch play, which is duper play, all kinds of programming. And hey, if you're in town, check it out and shoot me a message on Twitter. Maybe I'll see you at open play. The Texas Ranchers currently have the 6th most points per match. Extrapolating that out for the 23 games of the regular season, it will take about 33 points to be the 6th team in the playoffs. So here we can just kind of see the pace teams need to be on to do that. Now, we looked at this earlier for just the results of the DC tournament. Here they are for the entire season. And again, Dallas is the team to beat, and they are very consistent. They don't really have a weak line. Their weakest line is Augie Guh and Tyra Black, and they're still 500. There's not any other team that can say all 4 of their lineups are at 500 or better. Now, a lot of teams haven't played a lot of matches, so take all this with a grain of salt, but you can still kind of start to see team strategies and how they're going to get to 2 or 3 game wins within a match. Here we've got the records by partnership for the entire season. One thing that really jumped out to me here is that while there's a lot of parity in general, I think, in MLP this year, that's really not the case when it comes to women's doubles. The bottom 6 teams are just 2-21. It seems like there's just haves and have-nots in that discipline, whereas if you look at men's doubles, there's a lot more teams hovering right around 500. By the way, if I'm going too fast, go ahead and pause, take your time, look at these charts, and follow me on Twitter. I like to post all these on there. Get the conversation going. Anything that jumps out to you, drop in the comments. And of course, please fact check me. I did this all myself. The MLP data from the website, a little messy, a few typos I had to fix. Caught them all, I think. Now here again, we've got the individual standings aggregated for Atlanta and DC events. Again, with our power rating, which is just the win percentage in games plus the win percentage of points multiplied by 100. Now, Zane's only played 3 matches. This will probably balance out over time, but he's looking a little rough by that metric right now. Tina Pisnick's looking like an absolute steal for the Ranchers. The same can be said for Augie Guh of the Dallas Flash, who, by the way, they're my rivals. I do hate them. So speaking of value, here we've got the win percentage in games on the left-hand axis, and on the bottom, the price that was paid back in the draft in April. You can kind of see which players are the best value. I've actually added a little overlay here. We've got the great value teams here. Hunter Johnson, now he's only played 3 matches, so we'll see if that holds. Tina Pisnick, Hayda Patrickman, Georgia Johnson, J.W. Johnson, Hurricane Tyra Black, Deckelbar, Augie Guh. Hang on. That's the entire Dallas Flash is in the great value category. Good for them. You know what? Good for them. I hate them. Good for them. Expensive but worth it. Annalie Waters, Anna Bright, Ben Johns. These were the top 3 picks, and yeah, that's why they were the top 3 picks. Not worth the price as much. Jack Sock did better this past event, but still not quite performing how you would want your first overall pick to do. A lot of these players, too, have only played just the one event. We'll see if it balances out. And then maybe here, I just called it the trade zone. I don't know. Sounded kind of clickbaity. Teams that are struggling in MLP, they don't really like to stand still. The pressure's on to kind of make some moves. Remember, you can only keep 3 of your players for next season anyway. So if somebody's not performing, you might as well trade someone. And keep in mind, you can trade down to Challenger. With cash considerations are in play, there's a lot of options. Of course, there is the waiver wire too, but I don't really think it's super relevant for Premier League teams unless a big name enters their name in the draft. Or maybe you just fell in love with Quang Duong like I did. We will update our power rankings. Now, it pains me, but I'm going to drop the Ranchers down to the B tier. They're looking like a playoff team, but they're not looking quite as dominant as I was hoping. I think this is warranted for now. We'll reassess. The New York Hustlers, 6-0, you can't ignore that. They're jumping all the way up from the D tier to the B tier. I'm putting them in the playoffs. And the Seattle Pioneers, which I guess I should probably update to the Carolina Pickleball Club. But also, I just don't care, and I'm lazy. And we've made one other tweak. We couldn't drop them down because I only had the 6 tiers, but we've relabeled the E tier to the F- tier just for the Utah Black Diamonds. Next, on to Challenger. Remember, not attending this event were the SoCal Hard Eights and the Bay Area Breakers, making their debut the Chicago Slice, the Las Vegas Night Owls, and the California Black Bears. Now here are the standings coming in. Here's how the teams performed at the event. The Las Vegas Night Owls made their debut, and man, they looked good. They didn't lose a single match. They went 5-0. 4 of those did come in Dream Breakers. Is that sustainable? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. The Bouncers continue to look dominant. The other teams making their debut, the California Black Bears, struggled. They played 7 matches. That's like 30% of their season done right here. They, of course, had a sub, Spencer Smith, in for DJ Young. And, I mean, it just didn't work. They just didn't look good. They only made it to 1 Dream Breaker. They only got 1 win. 4 points in 7 matches is, it's kind of a disaster. And then the Chicago Slice, they only played 3 matches, so keep in mind that's 10% of their season. And they did not get a single win. They did make it to 2 Dream Breakers, so they did get 2 consolation points. The biggest surprise to me in Challenger has been Rafa Hewitt and Travis Rettenmeyer, 2 guys who I thought were probably 2 of the best players in Challenger League. I mean, they just have been struggling. Travis went 2-6 this event. Rafa went 5-9. Jack Monroe, the number 2 overall pick for the Slice, it's 2-4. And then how about the guy, Todd Fote, 8-0 this event. The dude's a menace. I mean, what the hell? 15-1 on the season. That's remarkable. Here are the Challenger standings, again, sorted by points per match, courtesy of Real Clear Stats. The Las Vegas Night Owls find themselves at the very top after their debut. Now remember, there are 5 teams across Premier League and Challenger making their debut in this event, and 4 of those 5 are at the bottom of the standings after their debut. Las Vegas Night Owls, who won 4 Dream Breakers, are the only team to kind of be able to buck that trend. Maybe there's a strategic disadvantage to playing your first match against a team that's playing their 5th or 6th match, which happened, by the way. Got to find a way to win, no excuses. Let's talk about rosters. Is anybody going to make a move? Are we going to see any trades? Now remember, you're allowed to trade. You can trade between Premier and Challenger. You can do cash considerations of up to $200,000 per trade. Additionally, the first of 4 waiver wire periods is going to take place on Thursday, June 20th. The order for that has been released on the MLP's website. It is going to be in reverse order of the points per match standings. So Utah will have first dibs, then Carolina, then so on and so forth. There will be 2 rounds of Premier League waivers, which I don't think we'll see any waivers in Premier League. Again, the player pool that you are allowed to select from for waivers are players who were picked up as injury replacements for MLP DC. Then also MLP contracted players not currently on a team, anybody who didn't get drafted, and non-contracted players, but that player must sign before they step foot on a court. I just don't think we'll see a Premier League team do a waiver edition. However, it will be very relevant in my opinion when it comes to the Challenger League. I would be absolutely shocked if Quang Duong goes unclaimed. There's a lot of talent out there that didn't get drafted. I just don't know who's signed what contract, so it's kind of hard to say who should be added unless I have a player pool in front of me. The fact that Premier League teams can send players to Challenger and vice versa is very interesting. And remember how I said there's not a lot of parity in Premier League women's doubles, the haves and the have-nots? Well, I think that might be the area where we see the most action. If you're one of those 7 teams with a women's doubles team that has a losing record, why not make a move? Whether you're trading within Premier League or if there's somebody you like in Challenger. Andrea Koop went 1-9 for Carolina, and the vibes on that whole team just, I don't know, they just seemed off. Maybe they make a move. I would not be surprised at all to see Utah just kind of say, screw it, and become sellers. Just sell their team for cash. I mean, they already did that with Tyson McGuffin. They're the only team that didn't spend real money in the auction. Maybe there's a desperate Premier League team or even a desperate Challenger League team that wants one of their players. They have good players. They're just not players to build your team around. So they have trade value. And honestly, if I'm on that team, I'm okay with that. In this segment, we're going to be doing my MLP wish list. First of all, cameras on lines. I mean, it's simple, common sense. Second, a venue with lights. They actually didn't play one of the matches because they ran late and they didn't have lights. Remember, in this event, they went back to the win on serve requirement, but they kept the games to 25, and as a result, games kind of dragged. Things went late. I would like to see all teams get away from the pickleball club, pickleball team, name and branding, and just pick a mascot. It doesn't have to be anything clever. It can just be like, I don't know, the Mongooses, anything. I would like to see a Dream Breaker only tournament. You can even do single elimination. It wouldn't even take that long. If each round is just one Dream Breaker, I mean, that thing would fly. It would go so fast. It could take half a day, and it'd be a lot of fun. It'd be kind of a gimmick, but I mean, Dream Breakers are already kind of a gimmick, so it'd be fun. Do it. And speaking of Dream Breakers, I want a box score with splits for every single Dream Breaker. I see a team won 21-17. I want to know who beat who by how many points. Colin Johns and Leia Jansen played in a Dream Breaker. It was so electric. Anytime men and women play. But just looking at the score, I don't get to see that. I want to know that Leia Jansen had a clutch 3-1 against Colin that got her team the win. So that's my wish list. I'm sure I'll add more to it as we go. And before we go, Basil the dog made his Premier League picks. Let's see how he did. I don't know. Pretty mid, Basil. Pretty mid. So that about does it. This is a different kind of video than my last recap video where I did a highlight package for the ranchers. Let me know what y'all thought of this. Is this too much data? Too much info? I'll be tweeting all these graphs out. Follow me there. Follow me on Instagram. Give me some feedback in the comments. My plan for this channel is just to kind of do MLP recaps, maybe bring back the world's shortest pickleball podcast to talk about the other tours. We'll keep doing some, 3.0 pickleball features, by the way. Go check out my latest video with Jack Monroe where we had him in the backyard, real clear stats. We statted the whole thing out. It was a ton of fun. Yeah,